I'll start by showing you a photo of a glass vase containing hydrochloric acid, in which I dissolved some copper wire. As you can see, the copper ions dissolved separately in the acid form a green solution. For this reason, the blue solution I had analyzed does not consist of individual copper ions. Now I'll show the certificate of analysis of the demineralized water I used. As you can see, the unit measure of the residual material analyzed is expressed in milligrams per liter. 1 milligram per liter corresponds to 1 part per million. ppm stands for parts per million. So the two measures are equivalent. 1 milligram per liter is the same as 1 part per million. As you can see, almost all of the components have a value of less than 1 milligram per liter. Only the nitrates and sulfates have a higher reading, and are the substances present in the highest concentration, and have a reading of 1 milligram per liter. As I found a large amount of sulfur in the experiment I carried out, we can see here that sulfur corresponds to 1/3 of the weight of the sulfate ion. So the total quantity of sulfur is 0.3 milligrams, or 0.3 ppm, which is a negligible quantity. We also have sodium, for example, which is another substance I found, and as you can see, it's at 0.01 milligram per liter, or 0.01 ppm, an insignificant quantity. These are all the components present in the water I used in the experiment. Now let's look at the potassium carbonate, K2CO3. As you can see written here on the top left, the K2CO3 has a purity of 99%, and the residues are listed here. Sodium has the highest concentration, 0.02%, which corresponds to 200 ppm. Then we have the sulfates at 40 ppm, but as the sulfur ion only accounts for 1/3 of the weight of the sulfate ion, the total sulfur is 14 ppm, a minuscule amount. There is also calcium, magnesium, iron, which have a concentration of 20 ppm, 50 ppm, and 5 ppm. Now let's have a look at the analysis of the chemical components present in the copper wires. This is a certificate of the copper wire, electrical copper wire. As we can see here, these are the various elements with minimum and maximum values contained in the wire. The sulfur has a maximum value of 0.0015%, which corresponds to 15 ppm. Then you can see the other components. Those marked with 1, 2, or 3 are groups. For example, group 3, which contains cobalt, iron plus nickel, tin, silicon, and zinc. The total combined concentration doesn't exceed 20 parts per million, as certified here. There are other groups whose combined concentration, for example, this group containing arsenic, cadmium, chromium, magnesium, phosphorus, and antimony, have a maximum of 15 ppm. So the copper wire has a very high level of purity and is obtained by extrusion. If the impurities were present in higher concentrations than indicated in this certificate, the copper wire would break during the experiment. That's everything.